Welcome to another video. Today we're talking about a very big topic in Asia, which is how Asia is dying of a sweet death, how sugar is killing this amazing continent. Now, before we dive into the video, don't forget to subscribe, like the video and share it with your friends and family if you find it interesting. Let's dive right into it. Now, I'm saying that Asia is dying of a sweet death. So why is that the case, and what am I referring to about? Now, I'm talking about diabetes. In Asia, doesn't matter the country you look at, you have very high levels of diabetes in the population, and unfortunately, in the majority of these countries, the diabetes level is actually going up. So let's talk about first of all why this is even a problem. Now, many of us would think that diabetes is a disease that only impacts the old. That is actually not true. Diabetes is something that can start showing its symptoms as early as mid to late 30s. And diabetes is actually a risk factor for basically all the major diseases. If you have diabetes, you have a higher chance of getting a heart attack, a stroke, a number of diseases basically, which is obviously a problem. So diabetes is not only a problem for you as a person, but also a problem to your community. That's because once the amount of diabetic people grows past a certain level, this starts putting a strain on the healthcare system of your community. So this is a massive problem from an economic perspective, but socially also, right? We're starting to see in Asia millions and millions of people who have a disease and have to be taken care of, obviously, and this hampers the development of the country and again the well-being of your community. So why is this even happening? Before I share a few insights about this, I wanted to give you a scale of the issue we're talking about. So you have places, I'm just looking at my notes over here, you have places like China, which, even though we don't have the exact figures, have an estimate of more than 100 million diabetics. So to put this into perspective, 100 million people is like what, 2.5 times 2.5 Malaysias. 100 million is almost the size of Japan population wise. 100 million people is the size of Vietnam. So this is actually a massive problem, right? Just on a scale. And now you may argue, okay, Andrea, but China has more than 1 billion people, so when you say that it's 100 million diabetics, is not that bad, right? Well, it is. That's because even if you think about the US, which I would say is not famous for having the healthy population, in the US, according to the data I found, there is about 11% diabetes prevalence. So China has higher than that. You have places like South Korea, which are a 13% prevalence, right, and growing. Japan still relatively low, right? You have also Singapore that used to struggle a lot. At some point, Singapore had a 14% diabetes rate. So this is a problem and has been getting out of control. So let's talk a little bit about the causes of it. So there is a number of them. I would say some are more obvious than others. So maybe let's talk about the more obvious ones. First one is urbanization. So Asia had arguably the strongest and fastest development in recent history of any region globally. You had basically millions, hundreds of millions of people who were lifted out of poverty and had a complete change in lifestyle. People started being sedentary, staying at home more, not doing as much physical activity as in the past. example, working in the rice fields or any labor, right, type of like manual work. At the same time, you had urbanization, so people aggregating in cities, which again, are more convenient in general, which in turn lead to less or to a more sedentary lifestyle. But also, thanks to Asia developing economically, we had amazing, I would say, from a positive perspective, but on the flip side, drastic dietary changes. People started eating a lot more processed food, and which again, it's maybe convenient, but it's not healthy. And when I say processed food, I'm specifically referring to a lot of sugar beverages or high calorie products, right? All of your all of your sweets, industrial made sweets. So lastly, I would say that another factor is aging populations. So historically, Asia had a very young population on average. Again, right, on average, younger people are less susceptible to diseases in general and to diabetes in particular. But we also have less obvious factors. For example, and I didn't know about this, genetic susceptibility. So turns out that while in your Caucasian population, the risk of getting diabetes spikes, right, increase drastically after a BMI of 25. In Asians, especially East Asians, the risk actually increases after 23 BMI. So that's actually a very significant difference, right? So long story short, Asians are more susceptible naturally to diabetes. So these are some of the causes that led to it. Again, I said some more obvious than others. But let's talk a bit about I think that by now it's quite clear, should be clear to you that this is a big problem. But now the question is, how do we fix it? The good news is that we had a number of countries already implementing some initiatives which have been actually quite successful. I'm thinking about Singapore. Singapore declared war on diabetes about 10 years ago, when they started pushing very hard on two things. One, on flagging the sugar content of products, and secondly, also pushing via various policies awareness in the overall population. I'll give you an example. I talked in a recent video about drinking coffee, which is your local coffee that you have in Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, etc. Basically in almost all of Southeast Asia. And traditionally, coffee you drink with maybe a couple of spoons of sugar. The Singaporean government pushed for raising awareness about getting your coffee with less sugar. So proactively ordering it with less sugar. So all in all, this has produced some very good results, which are amazing, honestly. We have similar initiatives also in the Philippines and in Japan. So I would say that the good news is that the governments are starting to realize the fact that hey, this is an issue. This is something that we have to fix. But ultimately, my perspective is that diabetes, the type 2 diabetes, which is the one you get just via your habits and your lifestyle, can be completely avoided as long as we are aware of the fact that the choices we make every single day play a massive part in our well-being. So I hope this video contributes in raising awareness for you if you're based in Asia, living in Asia, or if you're an Asian, and also shedding a light on this very strong problem that we have in Asia that unfortunately no one is really talking about. Again, if you like the video, I truly hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and share it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.